That's good.
Well, Dennis, how and where are you? Good evening, first of all.
Well, good evening, Erik.
Yes.
We are in our new home.
You're in your new home. You've turned a house into a home.
We're turning a home into a warehouse to begin with, and then we unpack it.
Well,
so
that was my question. Warehouse.
Warehouse. What house?
How house?
This isn't my house. So
tell me all about the move. Let's start.
It was,
our listener wants to know.
It was successful. It was chaotic. It was finally, holy shit, we have these 2 rows of stuff up in the attic that are all of value. One is a bunch of stuff over years we saved that I culled, but a whole row of shit.
Right.
4 foot high, 6 feet long, and an equal number of good teaching toys and books and materials such as that. And so we just finally said, forget it. We'll just load it up. We'll worry about it later. So it was the last load. Mm-hmm. And I used the trailer that we've been using that I own. It's an old horse trailer with the top off.
Oh, no.
4-wheel.
Oh,
I
no.
put sides on it. And loaded it. And those 2 rows filled the trailer, which is 5 foot wide, 14 feet long, and about 5 foot high.
That's a
big.
Good volume, yep.
And then it's all covered up and tarped, and now it sits outside our new home, much, I'm sure, to our neighbors' delight. It is a bright blue tarp that I added to it for ambiance, a giant 5.5 foot old iron wagon wheel to try to make this tarp trailer look like a Conestoga wagon.
That's classy,
right?
Yeah.
Then in the back of it, a crucifix made out of straw by a Puerto Rican holding an American flag. Not the guy who made it, but the figurine.
Mm-hmm.
And I pinned it as a way to warn intruders that we're both Christian here and patriotic, so there'd be trouble. That means we carry weapons.
Yeah,
just to
obviously.
Say those 2 things.
Yeah, if you say those 2 things, that clearly means
right.
you're carrying, you're packing heat.
Yeah. Heat. With me, they'd say, "Watch out! He's not a very good shot. He's packing warm."
Well, happiness is a warm gun. So.
Well, hey.
Oh,
we could make that into a song.
I don't think so. No one would listen to a song like that.
It would never sell.
You don't think that's a euphemism, do you?
What would that be? What?
I don't know. A warm gun?
I
don't know.
Meaning, yeah, no. Well,
yeah.
He's got my beer.
He's got your beer. Well, tell him to bring it in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll deal with it in a minute. So I'm drinking. This isn't beer. This is ultra light.
Nah, that's not beer. That's
it's piss.
Yeah,
it's piss.
Well, as we established at the end of episode 1, your wife ain't gonna bring anything. But that's why we have offspring, right?
Well. Well. Anywho.
Hey, you should be taking my word.
It's not your word, as you well know. As you well documented. Tell the people, tell the listener.
Only my people can use that word. You can't.
Your people.
You can't appropriate that.
Your people. What? High foreheaded, warm foreheaded Scandinavian types?
Yep, that's us.
Is that what you are?
Yes, we sunburn easily.
You do. Red faced,
yes,
so to speak.
Well, I mean, remember Erik the Red? That's because his face was all burned all the time.
Sunburn.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Don't blame, I mean, didn't know lotion. Somebody told me he had to use horse dung. Then for a while, you know what they call him? Erik the Ugly. And it didn't work, so then he went back to
Erik the Stinky, maybe.
Right.
Erik.
Well.
Erik Horseshit Face.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could translate that into Native American tongue, like
sleeps in cow patty.
Yeah, like Dances with Wolves. You'd be Erik Dances with Cow Shit, or Erik. Well, they wouldn't be Erik.
No,
you'd be an ant. You'd be crow who steps in horse dung.
That sounds right. That sounds like me.
Well, I can imagine a caricature of you.
Yes.
That is spot on.
Yes, yes. We had a purge recently where we started, as you know how these things go. It started in my office, and woke up one beautiful Saturday morning, and my wife said, "All right, today we're going to clean your office. Get all that shit out of there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And as I think I've stated before on this program, the proper way to do a good cleaning is to take everything out, wipe everything down on the inside, and then only put back the stuff that you are pretty sure that you want.
Right.
And we did that and got just a whole bunch of old, like, papers and stuff that you save, thinking, "Oh, I might actually go back and look at this someday," for 20 years, and then you're like, okay, whatever knowledge this was is either A, out of date, or B, immediately searchable on the internet.
Right. Well, exactly.
So the only thing I saved was a notebook of notes that I took in a college class I particularly liked, that I actually brought with me across the pond and to each of our houses ever since. Just, it's really sentimental at this point. Back when I had handwriting, I look back at. Yeah,
that's so nice.
Yeah,
that's so nice. Oh,
yeah, I know.
Oh,
but
I just want to come. I just want to come hug you. I'm so happy.
You want to hug my nice warm face?
Your warm forehead. I might press it against myself, but
yeah. And my wife got rid of like thousands of papers.
Did you just do a Mr. Ed horse noise? Let our listeners hear it a little.
It was
because it was good.
It was to get some of the dung out of
your face.
Out of my face.
Erik the Dungslinger. Well, see, because you learned to scrape it off your face and throw it at people.
Right.
You were disgusting. So then you went up in rank from Erik the Stinky and Erik the Ugly to
Now I
Erik
just
Dungslinger. Dungslinger.
Dungslinger.
Which has a Gunsmokian overtone to it.
I mean, you got your gunslingers and you've got your Dungslingers.
You're the latter, not the former.
If you say it, and as we've already established, you are the former. So
I have this to say to you. Happiness is a warm dung. Happiness is a warm dung.
Poop.
You do? Yeah. You could. If you had a beat, you could join along. But
if I had any rhythm. Yeah. This is happiness is warm. I mean, everybody loves a good number two.
Well, particularly, I'm not sure they like it when they think about it being spread on their face.
No.
That's chosen few. We don't want to specialize in that. We'll have 3 listeners, and 2 of them will have their faces covered with feces. I don't support. Don't advertise.
We love having just excreted one. That's always a good feeling.
You are so perturbed. You've gone from soft and intimate about this thing you wouldn't throw away, whatever the fuck it was, and now you've turned into this vile character. You just changed like the wind.
I'm admitting there's a book that everybody poops, and
there's no such book because it's not true.
It is, Dennis.
No.
I hate to break this to you, but your parents pooped, your grandparents pooped, your best friend poops.
Hey,
I just did, so.
I do it, but I hide it. So I don't really count.
Do you, scrape the litter up over so no one sees?
Change the subject. You're making me sick.
Please, God,
makes
yes.
my amber beer taste musty.
I have some notes of stuff that I thought we could discuss.
Well,
I mean,
aren't we organized?
Well,
go. Number 1, let's treat it like a game show. You ask me the question. No, you give me the answer.
Okay.
Then go. And I'll guess the question. Go.
The answer is sweep the leg.
What do you do a chair that's dirty on the bottom?
Very good.
That's the question.
Okay. As for some reason there seems to be a theme with this program, I introduced my kids to another 1980s classic, The Karate Kid.
Oh,
which,
on again, up again.
So wax on, wax off.
Yeah, off again. Close enough.
Close enough. Just more or less like your understanding of the 80s references. On again, off again.
Yeah. Miyagi.
But it holds up, and I mean, and the fact that they've remade it like 4 times since then.
Did you think they did? Hold up the others, the remakes?
There was 1 and 2, which in my mind are the canonical ones, and I think Ralph Macchio did a 3rd one. But then there was another one with. Then
they call him Karate Man.
Well, there was another one with a girl, Hilary Swank. Who destroyed the Oscars with $1 Million Baby at one point.
Yeah.
But she was a...
Clint Eastwood directed that. It was marvelous.
But she was an Oscar winner, I think, as a child, too.
Hillary was?
Yeah. I think she, as a little kid, she might have been one of the youngest Oscar...
Did she win an Oscar for playing a 12-year-old girl or a young girl who had to fool people she was a boy? I think that I remember something like that.
Boys Don't Cry. That sounds like what you're talking about. Yep.
I saw it. Yeah, I remember her as I remember her as a 12-year-old maybe.
Yeah.
So that would be quite.
So they made one with her, and then just recently, like a year or 2 ago, they've remade one with Jaden Smith.
Oh yeah.
And
Karate.
Karate Kid, 21st Century or whatever. And I think even the teacher character in that one was played by none other than Jackie Chan, America's favorite martial artist.
See that? Have you seen it?
No, I have not. But anyway, back to my point is that it's a very common theme. Kid gets bullied, wants to defend himself.
Yeah, right.
Is able to defend the bullies. But it was a really that magical moment where Daniel is really pissed off at Mr. Miyagi because, hey, you promised you were going to teach me karate, and all I've been doing is doing all your chores and cleaning your car and painting your fence. And then when Mr. Miyagi says, all right, now do wax on, wax off, and he tries to punch him and he blocks, and he does, all right, now do this, and he tries to punch him and he blocks.
Yeah, right.
And that moment, because it's not telegraphed at all that that's what's happening. Like the first time you see that, I think almost everyone is like, oh wow,
yeah.
And to see that come over my kids' faces was just lovely.
That's nice.
And of course, the immediately after seeing the movie, they started hitting each other because that's what siblings do when they watch Karate Kid, is they start beating on each other. But anyway, and also there's a brand new remake that is. It's like it's only available on YouTube Red, the premium subscriber YouTube thing. Their attempt at sort of a Netflixy sort of model, and it actually stars the original 2 guys, Ralph Macchio and whoever played the bully kid. And now they're all grown up, and I don't know, they probably have to fight about something. But
yeah, sure. Well, yeah.
Anyway, it's a cool movie. And then a week later, we watched the second movie. My wife had to go and do some shopping or something, and I said, "I'll take the kids, and I'll show them the second movie." And
in your living room?
Yeah. And for me, so many of my memories of what the Karate Kid movie came from the second movie. I think it's a far superior movie. It's the one where they go to Japan, and and it's all about how much the Japanese value their honor, and how you have to defend your honor, and his Mr. Miyagi's girlfriend that he was supposed to marry. No, she was in an arranged marriage with this other guy, and apparently Miyagi got up and in front of the whole village professed his love for this girl.
Yeah.
And it was such a big kerfuffle that he decided, well, okay, I'm just going to leave the country forever. And this guy still holds the grudge, and as soon as he sees Mr. Miyagi, he's like, all right, we're going to fight to the death now. It's like, geez.
Right,
but anyway, it's a good movie. It's the one with the little drums, and I don't know, all the characters are better. The love interest is better. The evil bully guy is better. The older bully guy is better.
Who are they played by?
I have no idea. It's nobody
Nobody would know.
that I have seen since. I don't think, but anyway, that was a nice blast to the past, and it was unlike a lot of movies that we've tried to watch from the 80s. The pacing holds. Like my 6-year-old could manage. Although there was some times where during some of the romance stuff where he was like, are they going to start fighting soon? Because
yeah, right,
I'm losing interest.
Right.
But anyway, my 10-year-old liked it. She's getting to the age where she enjoys a good chaste romance. Like if there was one kiss, there might not have even been a single kiss in the whole movie, in all the romance. But so that's some of the things that I've been up to. All you've been doing is moving boxes around. Are you stronger now?
Here's the story. So
are you all ripped? Do you have like muscles now?
Well, when you're my age, you don't get muscles. You just lose less flab. So the skin hangs a little lower. Or a little. It's not quite as low. The skin hangs not quite as
tighter skin.
Well, right. But so here's this deal. I got this load full of stuff, right, in the back of my truck. It's a small load. And on the way to my house, from my new house from my old house, I called my son-in-law and said, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm shopping. And I'm like, so come help me unload. He says, yeah, I'll be there within 45 minutes. I say, cool. So I get out of the truck and I do something with the phone and then unpack the entire truck, and then the phone goes dead. And somewhere in a truckload of boxes, I suspect, is my phone. So it was a 2-day fiasco of looking right everywhere, multiple times, and then finally getting one. But
finally getting a new one because you gave up on the search for the old one, right?
$600, and as a result, when the company that installs the internet called my cell phone to confirm the appointment, they weren't able to, and it didn't work.
It's all connected, man.
It was like, catch-22. I was going to change my name to Major just to, fit into the drama.
Exactly.
And, where do you go? Where do you start?
If the email system's down, send us an email.
Oh, yeah, right.
No.
And I'm like, I finally get to the store, to the big box store where I bought my phone and get a good price. And she said, well, I have to have your password. And you have to have access to internet. And I said, well, I don't have internet. I don't have a computer. I have a phone that's lost, and I own all these things. Therefore, I have a footprint about the size of fucking Portugal. Right. So certainly you can find me and give me access to my account so I can, replace my phone. Why? Because I paid for that. Mm-hmm. Now this other company that controls the network itself is saying, well, we have to have this, and you have to verify this, and we'll send you a code, and we'll verify. We're round and round, and the lady who's waiting on me is the one who's talking, and she is so great. She's at the end of a shift, so she's like a little pissy to begin with, probably. I just loved it. And she said, look, this isn't complicated. He doesn't have Wi-Fi. He doesn't have a phone. You have his code. I need to speak to a supervisor.
Nice.
Well, a supervisor won't. I don't. Thank you. I know what a supervisor is. I want yours. Oh, supervisor comes on, blah, blah, blah. And she says, blah, 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 and explains the whole thing. And he says, well, the fact is that the security, blah, blah, blah.
We can't verify, right.
And so she says, listen, he's sitting right here. You've got security questions, probably about 7 of them. Start asking them. And I take the phone, and I say, I don't understand why this is so complicated. Go ahead, shoot. Question number 1. And it's like, what's your mother's maiden name, and what's your favorite pet, and where'd you meet your wife, and what's your brother's middle name, parentheses, it's not Jose, end of parentheses, these questions.
Right. Would you like to answer those on the air right now?
They want to do it. No. I had to go to Verizon that controls the information. They said, can we see your driver's license? And I flashed it in front of them and said, you're good. What do you need? So I bought my phone there. It took 15 minutes.
Wow.
Cost me 20%. Because it was cheaper at the other place. But here's the security question. I'm doing this credit card thing, right? And they asked me security questions to verify that the guy who's opening the account, is me.
Right.
And asked me these questions. And one of them is, listen to this.
What's the name of your podcast?
Have you ever owned any of the following?
Nice.
A old Crown 14-foot fishing boat. Describe another fishing boat. A third one, another fishing boat. Now, the woman who's on the phone with me asking me these questions, I said, "Are you kidding me? I've owned boats off and on all my life. What are they named?
You want the serial number?
Can I check all three or what?" And she said, "No. Which of the following have you owned?" So just repeating it, and I say, "Well, okay, it's like a game show." I say to her, and I picked the first one, and she says,
"Final answer.
Please hold, sir. Please hold, sir. I have to call my manager." And then the manager comes in.
It's too bad you can't phone a friend.
Right.
Because you don't have a phone.
I could get. All right. If you could just hand your phone to someone who has an account with us.
Nice. Yeah, those questions. That's such a mixed bag because, on the one hand, people do walk into places pretending to be other people and guess at, if it's multiple choice, if there's 4 answers and they guess wrong and they say, "Oh, well, sorry, we can't," and then they make a big kerfuffle and then walk out and go over to the next AT&T store or whatever, and now they have one of the answers checked off that they know it's not or whatever. You can game that system, but and also you can like.
But let's be reasonable.
But almost no one. Let's be reasonable. 99% of people.
Have you ever worn the following makes of men's black socks? And then lists, right? And you're like, "Oh my God, I've been wearing men's." It's like a 55-year love affair with men's black socks. How long of a list do I get to choose from? They give you like 18 choices and say select one. Right, I mean, that's a security check.
17 of these are decoys.
About Jerry Lewis?
Only the real dentist would know.
What's the relationship between Jerry Lewis and men's socks?
I don't know much about Jerry Lewis, to be honest.
Well, it's because you're in Spain, not France. The French know all about him, of course, as the French would.
Well,
so
I mean, the Germans were called Jerry's, right?
Oh,
they didn't invade Spain.
Random troublesome comment.
All right.
On your part. But here's the connection.
In French, is it Louis? Jerry Louis?
Jerry Louis. He never.
Sorry.
He started every day when he was getting dressed with a brand new pair of men's socks because he never wore anything other than a brand new pair of men's socks. He used 365 pairs of socks a year, brand new, and discarded them. And what he should have done, instead of that telethon thing that he did, was sell his socks. In hindsight, I'd own.
He's got if he could have saved them all, 1,000 pairs of socks that.
Let's say he did it for 20 years.
You can double
600,000 pairs of socks.
You can double your money if you don't sell them in pairs. Sell them individually.
We could make money. Listen, there's only maybe nobody's listening, but if it is, it's just your father. So let's
maybe there's a. There could be a.
We say we have Jerry Lewis's socks, and we just sell just random colored socks. We wouldn't be caught. And the Jerry Lewis people, he's probably got people somewhere,
right?
They wouldn't care.
As long as we kept it under $1 million business. Then they might start to want sock royalties.
I don't think the thing you do when you start a business is cap it out. I don't know if your business sense is what it might be. Did you go to? So I was going to ask you if you went to college and the response that you don't know is the response that I read on a bathroom stall. That this is the response, and it said kind of in rough handwriting. It said, "I didn't do college."
Nice.
That's funny. You're not laughing.
Why?
I know inside you're laughing.
Yeah. So I thought you were going to propose that we started selling your underwear or something to our bonus patrons or something. But
no, that has no value.
No.
Really, they're all holy. I've replaced them slowly but surely. It's not unusual to find a pair of underwear in my wastepaper basket.
Have they been blessed?
So I could.
Have they been blessed by a priest?
They've been blessed with the oil of 1,000 popes.
All right. There's our episode title.
Yeah, well, that could be. Listen, we could make money off this idea.
No, that's our.
You name each pope. You set up a thing where when you buy the underwear from somebody, when somebody buys underwear, they sign up to record the underwear that they throw away, and they get to name it, the underwear they throw away, and we'll record it for them for a fee. They name the underwear they throw away, and we record it, and they pay us.
So they say, this underwear is Richard the 17th.
Or I was thinking Charlie, but you can go literally. Was he a fucking king or something?
I don't know. I mean,
Richard the 17th. He was played by Richard Burton, probably, or or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, if it's men's underwear, there's the whole dick reference. But
right.
And so your idea is that someone sends us some dirty underwear with a name.
No. They take a picture of it. It's digital.
It's a picture of dirty underwear. That's way more hygienic.
I realize now that you want to actually. I think you were thinking about touching this old underwear.
No, I was concerned about not being able to not touch it. But pictures are much cleaner. And so they give us the name.
What's that hanging on the hook I see behind your head in your office?
It's my collection.
It looks like old men's underwear.
It's my collection.
Yeah.
Don't disturb it.
Gross.
Well.
Oh, right. I'm going to come through the phone line. What is this? Aladdin?
Because that happened.
Do I look like a genie to you?
So they're going to send us a name and a picture of their underwear, and we're going to record a little thing saying, "May Charlie rest in peace. He served us well."
No. It's like a bank, a memory bank. It's not. No, we don't do anything. We just store the name. It's like we're a cemetery. It's like
you said record, and I had audio on the brain because we're recording something.
That's because your forehead is warm from the sun.
Yeah. So we just have a database of pictures and names of
that's right.
Old discarded.
And anybody can go to it and check it, cross-reference it, see it written.
Right.
And it's like an annual fee, $15 a year, 100,000 first year.
Right.
We'd make a lot of money. I'm telling you.
And then
nobody's ever thought of this.
And then
it's new.
I wonder why. And your wife comes to you with a credit card bill, and it's like, Dennis, what is this bill for $15 every year to oldundies.com? Can you explain?
No, we're known by the acronym OUI.
Old Undies
Incorporated.
Infinite. Forever.
Infinitum.
UNF.
Hey, let's look it up what it is in Latin. Right? Old underwear infinitively. Right? And then in Latin it would be
Pantos Yeah. Ante pantos and infinitum. Yeah. All right, good. Let's shelve this idea for future discussion.
You always throw cold water in my shit.
Well,
you need another drink. You would like this idea.
So today I took my children to renew their passports. Because I have dual nationality children, I've done this twice this year. One for the U.S. passports and another for the Spanish passports. And I have to say it's a good idea. There's a good policy where both parents have to be present when you're renewing your child's passport or getting one. For the obvious reason of, one parent doesn't just, get passports for the kids and, leave the country or whatever.
Right. Which is that what you were trying to do?
No, I was trying to leave the country with my whole family. But yeah.
Just check.
Just temporarily.
You seemed a little suspicious for a moment.
Well, I'm always suspicious.
Of what? Everything?
I'm suspicious of everything, and and people should be suspicious of me.
Well,
I could do anything.
That went from curious to alarming. I think you should. This is a two-part
suspicion
response.
Suspicion is a good thing.
We can dig into this a little bit. Maybe it's the topic of let's say a series of 13 shows to dig into the responses about that.
Right. Should we believe anything Erik says?
There's a riddle. Everything I say is a lie.
That's
what?
Right.
What?
It can't be.
If this, then that. What?
That's been puzzling philosophers and stuff for centuries.
It's an agnostic. It's a question that goes back to St. Augustine.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and it really, really bothered Gödel, as I think his friends called him. He's the guy that proved that there are things in math that cannot be proven, which totally blew everyone's mind at the time, because everyone thinks that math is like, I got A and I plus B, and I can prove that it's always going to be C or whatever. But he proved that there are problem domains that have no resolution.
Right.
Which was very disturbing. Exactly. The story of Dennis's life is there's so many problem areas.
Perplexed, or just perplexion upon perplexion.
They call it the Dennisplex.
Wow, that's sketchy.
It's
that's sketchy. Is that the best you can do in short order?
It's the tesseract of Dennis's
the what? The tesseract?
Tesseract. It's a multi-dimensional shape of lattice shape. The
tesseract.
Well, the tesseract. Is
that what you're saying?
No, that's a different thing. No.
What are you saying?
Tesseract. Tesseract.
That's not a word.
Okay.
You're making it up. That's a word they only use in Spain. Tesseract.
Tesseract. Tesseract with a T. Yeah. All right. So this is good content. This is our 10th episode. Episode 10.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting, because now to someone with 10 fingers, that's pretty exciting.
Well, fills them up, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's
what you mean.
That's why we have the base 10 system. If we were Simpsons that only have 4 on each hand, then they'd probably be using base 8 all the time. But
no, they use their forehead as the 5th digit. One half their forehead for the 5th digit, and the left arm and one half their forehead. That's how they count.
That makes sense.
You must have missed that episode, but anyway, that's the way that works. So you'd be in good stead with that forehead.
Well,
listening red, bright, like a beacon, beaconing in from the Spanish summer sun, the burning of the Scandinavian skin ritual.
I'm Rudolph the red foreheaded Scandinavian.
Right. Erik the shithead has become Erik the shiny, glistening, red burnt
beacon
head.
Yes.
Beacon.
So one funny thing about the Simpsons fingers is there's only one character on The Simpsons that has 5 fingers on every hand.
Yes. Simpsons boss.
Close. It's God. Whenever God comes down from heaven to talk to Homer or whatever, he's got 5 fingers on every hand.
Well, as you'd expect, because he is, after all,
made in our image.
God.
Right.
No, whoa, you've got that backwards. In Spain, they burn people for that. Saying that. Do they still burn people in Spain for their religious beliefs, or is that just a rumor?
Well, I'm kind of sunburned.
What do you believe in that got you in trouble?
That it was going to be more cloudy.
Well, that is spiritually deep. I'm about to have an awakening just from your depth of introspection.
But then the clouds parted, and I got burned.
Right. And I got burned.
Solar wrath rained down upon me.
Did you reach to the heavens with your arms asunder and cry out, oh God, why my forehead?" So, in a dramatic fashion.
Pretty close. Said something about my kingdom for a hat.
Your kingdom?
Yeah.
You don't have a kingdom. What were you going to do if somebody gave you one? They'd take it back. they'd say, here's your hat, and what's my kingdom? And you'd say, well, I just said that.
Fooled you.
They'd snatch that hat back so quick, they'd be gone.
Well,
they'd be like, they'd give you the bird, and they'd be running in the other direction. You can't just say stuff.
No, I'd say...
You got to be accountable.
No, you have to...
A kingdom for a hat. You don't have a kingdom.
I'd say, look, my kingdom is right over that hill over there. Just go right over that hill.
You hit him on the back of the head and try to kill him?
No.
Because earlier you were espousing a violent side of yourself. It was alarming. Twice this podcast you have.
Suspicion is not violence. But anyway.
It's a violent suspicion.
Ooh. It's sort of a mental violence where...
There's a song in there.
Violent Suspicion? That's more of a band name.
Oh.
And tonight we have Violent Suspicion.
And they don't come out and sing ballads.
No.
No.
In fact, half the nights they just don't even come out because they're suspicious.
So we're going to put the band back together again.
What band is that?
I've decided the MB Classic. I've decided that we have to become more disciplined and preparatory.
No.
And we're not. Listen.
Do homework?
We don't suffer. We don't suffer from lack of preparation. You and I each prepare something each year. To some extent.
It's rehearsal in the group.
Well, true. But the I'm wanting to.
But I mean, it's a little bit like herding cats.
True, but here's the thing that I learned last year is that each person there is equally interested in having a solo, and they will do their best job at it. And they may, or to whatever extent they're prepared to do, that doesn't much matter about my point. But my point is this: that motivation is perhaps better put to use rather than a round robin set of lyrics, but better put to use as having their own sound or their own recurring rhythm or their own recurring refrain.
Like every
so that
we assign different verses to different people, and we say, all right, this is your verse. These are more or less the.
That's what we don't do.
Okay.
That's what we did last time, and it was not. It wasn't great. This one is.
I'm glad that I highlighted
This is what you sing the entire song. So you and I know there's a bass singer in the group, none other than the
yes,
Vinny himself. And what he says for the entire song is, after the chorus, he says, "Coming on home, coming on home," and so he's got his own bass thing. And once he knows his bass thing that he can do without anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well enough that he can do it with everybody. So what you say is, here's your part. Coming on home, coming on home. Now go out on the porch and sing that until
1,000 times.
It isn't going to matter that people are singing something different. And so then there's another person, who is the next person. Let's say, who's the tall dude, right? But you remember this.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get the lyrics right. Very good singer. You give him something more complicated, and in fact, with a voice like his, he could be the the lead.
The primary.
But this is what I saw the other day at a local bar here, right up the street, is that at an open mic of karaoke night, they had a group come up, an entire table, and they did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, talk about a thing to be done in a foursome. Yeah.
This is a sixum. And when it opened up, I mistakenly thought that, because in karaoke sometimes you will hear the main beat, but you'll hear an orchestra. Right. If it's a Ray Charles tune at Georgia, for example, which this man got up and sang and was stunning. It was perfect. Mm-hmm. But the karaoke music was the entire orchestra, right? That he put together, which was nobody else was doing that at the time with full orchestras like that. Ray Charles really put himself out there. But the point is that karaoke. Then they announce Ted I think, or whatever, and friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they all ran up a whole table near me. 6 young people in their 20s, millennial, and the music started, and that beautiful harmony that opens up Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my God! And I thought that the karaoke machine was playing that as background, and in fact, they weren't.
All a cappella, right?
Oh, gravity, and then it went on from there. It faltered a bit, I must say.
That's a very challenging song to get right with.
But
all the
mostly right.
Scaramouche. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually, that's not Scaramouche. It's Balamouche. It's something other. I was surprised to see what it was. We should look it up and you can post it. But the word they used there was a word unknown to me. And I think it's like Beelzebub, I know, but I don't know what this is.
All I remember is everyone's mind, including mine, went to that song when that lawyer Scaramucci was in the news for corruption for something or other.
Scaramouche.
Yeah.
Scaramouche. Can you do the fandango?
Was that pre-Trump corruption news? I can't even remember. It's all blurred together.
What Scaramouche?
Yeah, that was
no,
like
he was all over Trump.
Yeah, right.
He was his press secretary for a day, and he interviewed drunken. And was swearing and using racial language.
No,
he was
not a government official.
Short-lived, actually, which is unusual with Trump.
Yeah, he
meant well.
He hates to fire people.
Hey, man. We got to hide the battleship because it's named John McCain. It's named after John McCain, and they're like it's the Navy, so they got tarps, right? If there's a department of federal government that has tarps, it's the Navy. They got tarps. They find a tarp that's big enough to cover the name, and they get the word from the White House that no, they don't want just a name to disappear. They want the whole battleship to be under the tarp. And they did it.
I read
and Trump said they were well-meaning. I mean, there's a big tarp.
Well, I mean, they could have contacted you. You're good at throwing tarps over things with a little wheel you could have thrown on top to keep it from blowing away.
I wouldn't do it out of principle.
So when I saw those articles, I didn't click on any of them because that's just exhausting. I was under the impression that like the ship was like hovering out to sea near China or something, and they wanted it to like go over the horizon so it couldn't be seen.
12 miles plus whatever it takes to hide a battleship.
Exactly. That was my thought. But did you see Trump just today landed in London to try and somehow take advantage of all the turmoil there? Because why wouldn't you? It's like not paying taxes. It's just the smart thing to do. And some of the protests are pretty funny. They're projecting John McCain battleship or whatever onto different buildings around town just to fuck with him. But not that I can't imagine. Like both, I can imagine that sort of petty shit would really get to him, but also I can imagine that not really. Like there were people that drew big that mowed their lawn into big penises and stuff around the airport where he was going to land, but I don't think Trump even contains within him the wonder necessary to want to look out the window when you're flying.
The curiosity, right? The basic.
Right. I think
unless the window was a mirror, and then he would look at it.
Right. Or if like, oh look, we're flying over the London Bikini Squad or whatever. But I think there are people that fly as much as he does that still appreciate looking out the window at the place where they're about to land. But I bet you my kingdom that he does not.
Oh, here we go again. What if I took you up on it? You got nothing to offer me. You're despicable. You just make stuff up.
You don't know who I'm descended from. I've got.
I do, in fact. Erik, the Dungslinger. We've covered this. How quickly you forget. So did you see the First Lady dressed as Lady D today? She was doing an impersonation. You can Google it and link it for our listeners. But stepping off the plane dressed in white with a gorgeous large white hat that was reminiscent of Princess Diana in her wonderful.
Funny that you say Lady D. I always thought it was Di because of Diana. But then there are some things where I say the abbreviation in with a different vowel than the full word is. So like,
That's because you have an overheated forehead. Your brain's being fried.
But you just did it. Like, I don't know. The Spanish would certainly call her Diana. I just thought of another interesting, bizarro, for people that have never been to Spain, fact about Spain.
Here we go.
All right, ready? Hold on to your seats.
Ready?
Hold on to your thrones.
Wait a minute. We don't have kingdoms either. Everybody doesn't have a kingdom. That's you're ready to launch into another story.
No, but they're listening.
Right?
They're listening to this on the toilet, Dennis. It was a euphemism. I'm sorry.
How do you know your father's on the toilet?
Well,
that's the only question. How would you know? Is it like an intuitive father-son connection over the years? Young Erik Dungslinger and long father Dungslinger doing potty together, like through your brain.
I think
through the ether, the Ethernet.
Ether. It's ether.
Ether.
God,
there weird. You go again, Lady Di, Lady D.
Jeez,
all your funny Spanish pronunciations.
For sure, the guy going to Kansas and back must have shit in every restroom on the way to and fro.
That's why he doesn't listen anymore, because he didn't use the backseat of his car. You embarrassed him, and he's done with you.
That's probably why it smells like my office with all the underwear. Yeah.
You don't get to keep or touch the underwear. You've got that wrong too. We went through this. See, I told you earlier. That's what you wanted, and you said, "Oh, it's like disgusting," and how could you avoid it? And yet, when you think about it fondly, you think about the fact that it would be stored in your office along with your little collection that I see next to your fake certificates of education, whatever's hanging on the wall.
I printed those myself.
It says replica down on the bottom. It's like you stole it from your podiatrist or whatever and put it up, crossed their name out, wrote in yours.
I went to getyourkingdom.com and I printed out the certificate.
Right. King Erik of Dung.
Anyway.
Go ahead. Where were you?
Back to my fucking story. In Spain, weirdly...
You don't need to curse so much on the show.
No.
Your mother might be listening. I doubt it. But
no, why would you? Okay. But one weird thing about that I noticed coming to Spain is that when the Spanish, and there's a thriving gossip magazine and TV show industry, when they talk about the royal families of other nations, they translate the names into Spanish.
Oh.
So if you ask a Spaniard who is the Queen of England, they will say Isabel Segundo. And if you ask what who her son is, they will say Carlos. It's pretty weird. They map. Well, they translate all the names.
But starting with the fact that it's just not true. It's not their name.
Okay, so...
All right? I mean, that's why it's weird, right? Because it's not true.
Okay, but who were the... we all do this to some extent because we say Spain and not España, right? That's not what it's called here, but we change it, we Anglify it. But like, who were the famous king and queen of Spain that sent Columbus off to find the New World?
I don't know, but I wasn't around then.
In America, we learned that it's Ferdinand and Isabella.
Uh-huh.
But here it's Fernando and Isabel.
So we have in our historical context just isn't true either.
Exactly.
That wasn't their name.
Nothing that you read is true. So anyway, that was it's all fake news, man. But that was an interesting thing that I learned about how they special case royal families with that. They would still call, David Beckham or whatever, but they don't, translate that. But they translate for all the countries, for all the monarchies.
So what's Trump?
Gilipollas. No.
What?
No.
What's that mean? Foolish asshole?
Fucking asshole, yeah. Basically.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I could guess at that.
so far we haven't launched any wars, or we've probably, as a nation, killed fewer people than Obama did. So I don't know. It's just that we're at the whims of an egomaniac knucklehead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's out of control.
Well, he's out of control, but he's in a cage though. He's banging around on the bars of the cage saying, "Look at me," and we're all like, "Look at this freak."
And while the cage has a curtain where no one can see him, the front part of the cage, he's in total sight. And what we see is astounding enough compared to what we can imagine is going on behind the scenes. The anger and the turmoil and the narcissism.
I think he's transparent enough that we can imagine what happens when the cameras are off. I think he's swearing a lot to hide. I think he's probably angry to hide, actual grief or whatever for how his parental relationships were. I don't know. I think he has some severe self-esteem issues.
Oh my God, to say the least.
So,
good Lord, he's such a character. What a historical experience this is for the country and the world.
Yeah.
This will stand. This stands.
What an honor. We get to live through it.
The most unusual presidency in the history of the United States. The most unusual.
Right.
No judgment either, not necessarily in that. That's why that would provoke support.
Do you see that Monty Python skit where they have the deadliest joke?
No, which one?
It's part of their flying circus thing where they're the Brits and they're trying to keep this secret joke from falling into the hands of the German enemy. I guess it's set during World War II, and it's this joke that if told to you, you die laughing. And so
no, I've not seen that.
And so they have their translators translate one sentence at a time so that they don't die into German, right? And then they have their soldiers that don't speak German yell it over the trench lines. They say "Daffen to the Flaffenschufe," and the guys on the other side of the line just all die laughing.
If you've enjoyed what you just heard, you can support us by telling a friend or sharing us on social media. Monthly donations to help us pay for hosting and editing can be provided at patreon.com/happyhour. That's all one word, happy hour. All our episodes, including show notes for each episode, are available on our website, happyhour.fm. You can tweet at us at happyhour.fm, that's with a dot spelled out, happyhour.dotfm, or we can receive email at the same name, happyhour.dotfm@gmail.com. It would also be great if you could give us a positive rating on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. That really helps other people find us. See you next week.